And there were other stories of my family, but in the end they were all killed. And why did we still have relatives? Because two of my uncles were in the States, and some of my mother's sisters, one sister and two brothers, were in Palestine, the British Mandate of Palestine. And of course, they were there when they fought the War of Independence and became the State of Israel. And we have visited, and I visited many times. My husband, his mother took him out of Germany when he was 8 years old in 1933. She saw the handwriting on the wall. His father did not. They divorced at that time. She said, I'm taking my little boy out of here. And he would visit his father in the summers until the father left for the United States in 1938. And so he grew up in Palestine. He was in the British Army, and in 1947 he left because he wanted to study, and he could do that in the United States, he thought. It was in 1947, on George Washington's birthday, he arrived, and pretty soon he thought, I can't go to get a college education. I have some time, I'll go and try a night school. And he wanted to study advanced math, which was out of my class still. And so his second class was the class I was taking, my second class, and we met, and we started walking around in the plaza near which it was Union Square, if anybody who listens to this knows Manhattan. Union Square, where there were cheap apartment stores and all kinds of stores, and also cafeterias. And we would walk around and get acquainted. But of course I had to go home. I had to get up early the next morning. So, but we became acquainted, and we started to date on the weekends. And to make a long story short, he became my husband of many years. And later on, he managed to finish his studies. He had a PhD, became a psychologist. We had 2 children. And you may want to take a photo of when they were little girls, when my father made a portrait of them. And they are, of course, middle-aged women. I have 2 grandchildren, and I have lived a happy life and worked in the family business, which was commercial photography of art and fine art and antiques in Manhattan, and we were the better of the 2 who did that business. And eventually my husband sold it, and it was a good thing because he had, looking backwards, the early symptoms of Parkinson's, which was diagnosed in 1972. He was 47 years old, lived with the disease for 27 years. I was his lone caregiver. Even while I was working later on, I worked in a bank, so my younger daughter could have the college education of her choice rather than, what we could afford. And this way, we didn't have to touch our retirement fund. And that's how I'm living a comfortable life now. And she is using her profession. She became actually she ended up as a medical writer. Before that, she has a master's in public health, and she worked in an agency, but she wanted to spend more time with her first child, and as a medical writer she could work at home. When I spoke to children for many, many years, about 19 years, there's one message I always left them with. And excuse me if I get a little sentimental at this point. And I also want my children and my grandchildren to hear it. They have heard it, but it does no harm to hear it again. And my message is, if you meet people who are very different from you, whether they are different in religion, in race, in color, in language, or in costume, it doesn't matter. Greet them as an individual. You may even become friends, because I learned from my experiences that there are good people, there were good Germans, there were good people wherever I went. You could meet anti-Semites in America, where people were very good to us. We found helpful Germans in Germany, and I want you to remember, do not judge people by their outside. Get to know them, they may become good friends. And that's very important, especially at this time when I'm doing this video. I'm talking now in 2018, and there's a lot of hatred out there. And when I was given an honor in 2016, my rabbi was interviewed for the person who was introducing me, and he remembered me as a person of universal love. And it is very important that we spread the love, not hatred.